Hello, hello. So today I'm going to play Madgebörg. I think that's how you say it. It was designed by George Hobmeyer and Zombar Sviab. I probably butchered that. Svab. Edited by James Patton, and the cover art was by Elliot Baum. This year. So I haven't played this yet, but it's inspired by Merkborg or Dark Fort. And let's go into the background of it. The 30 Years' War, which lasted from 1618 until 1648, is considered one of the most devastating conflicts in European history. By the time the imperial city of Madgebörg rose up against the Holy Roman Emperor, the war had been raging for about 13 years. At this point in the war, the Swedish king Gustavus Adolphus decided to enter the war, landing in Pomerania on July 6, 1630. A Lutheran Protestant, the Swedish king was seen as a potential ally in Madgebörg's struggle against the Catholic Habsburg Emperor Ferdinand II. Not everyone trusted Adolphus's intentions, however. Some Protestant rulers within the Holy Roman Empire suspected Adolphus's motive for entering the war was to gain control of northern German ports, which would allow him to control commerce in the Baltic Sea. Despite this, Madgebörg had a good reason to ally itself with him. Adolphus's army was one of the most efficient of the time, and he did not rely on mercenaries as much as other rulers did. Emboldened by Adolphus's intervention and the opportunity this represented, Madgebörg's city councilors declared their allegiance to Sweden. Adolphus's army was primarily made up of Swedes, while the armies of the Holy Roman Emperor included a mix of soldiers from various countries. In a matter of months, imperial forces under the command of the Count of Tilly, advised by Field Marshal Pappenheim, laid siege to the city. Madgebörg hoped that Adolphus and his armies come to their rescue, a hope that would never be realized. After 2 months of siege, and despite the Swedish victory in the Battle of Frankfurt on April 13, 1631, Pappenheim finally convinced Tilly, who had brought reinforcements, to storm the city. On May 2nd, 40,000 men under the personal command of Pappenheim began the assault. The Madgebörg citizens hoped in vain for a Swedish relief attack, which never came. The attack on Madgebörg was brutal and devastating. The imperial forces bombarded the city with heavy artillery fire, then launched overwhelming infantry assaults. The city's defenders fought valiantly, but were overrun by the sheer number of enemy soldiers. The citizens of Madgebörg suffered greatly during the attack. Many were killed or wounded, and many more were taken captive. The city was left in ruins, much of its once beautiful architecture destroyed. Despite the tragedy of the attack on Madgebörg, the 30 Years' War raged on for another 17 years. It's estimated as many as 8 million people died as a result of the conflict, which was fought between Protestants and Catholics across much of Europe. The war finally ended in 1648 with the signing of the Peace of Westphalia, which established the principle of state sovereignty and helped usher in a new era of European politics. So, fun fact, in college, I had a United States history professor who taught the first half of the class about the history of Catholicism in Europe. So that was fun. In Madgebörg, you will be presented with scenes where you can make a decision. To execute that decision, you'll mostly roll dice. Rather than explaining the rules ahead of time, Madgebörg teaches its rules during the game itself, via the introduction scenes. Sweet, so then we start from 0, 'Tis lost, we are alone. The council gather in the city hall as dawn approaches the 20th day of May. As the first hail of bombardment blasts the city walls, they panic. Damn the king, we stand alone. There's only one solution. Surrender now, or let Madgebörg burn. Roll 1d6. I got a 1! To the walls! You're a Catholic mercenary officer assaulting the city. Today is the day. The reinforcements led by the court of Count of Tilly have arrived, and the city is ripe for the taking. Gathered in their captain's tent, your fellow officers are ready to lead a charge against the gate. You too feel the fire in your veins, ready to claim the city by force. You now have 2 reason and 2 trickery. Okay. Roll for either reason or trickery. To do so, roll the action die 1d6 plus your skill value, and the challenge die 2 10-sided die. Okay. If the number on the action die is higher than both the challenge dice, you succeed. If the action die is higher than only one challenge die, you succeed at a cost. Otherwise, your reaction results in failure. Roll my challenge die. Okay, so I only beat one of them. I got 2 5s and a 6. Like a 5 on the d6, and 1 5 on a d10, and 1 6 on a d10. But I guess it's not higher. That's only equal to, it's not higher, so then I fail. Let's say I tried to reason with him. Despite your reasoned arguments, your voice is swallowed by the loud officers around you. You're sent to guard the artillery. Continue with 3. Aim. Fire. Since your efforts failed to get you closer to the front line, and to the bounties of a pillaged city, you've been tasked with guarding the artillery. Waves of gunfire graze the cover around you. Your worst misfortune is still to come. One of those damn bullets passed through your skull. In an instant, all of your thoughts are wiped away, leaving only the visage of someone in the distance. Continue with hold the gate and see who killed you. In the wake of the chaos, you're now a defender of the city. All is lost, nothing remains but to save as many as possible. To see who you are, roll 1d6. I got a 1. I'm a Catholic peddler with 2 conflict, 4 reason, and 3 trickery. And I have 5 Thaler, and baubles to trade. 3 uses automatically succeed on reason test. Record your belongings on your character sheet, as well as any you had earned previously. Roll 1d6 for additional equipment. 6. Bandages. 1 use. Heal 1d6 hit points. Nice. You have 15 hit points and the will to live. A life wasted in front of you. It doesn't matter who did it or why. You only see what is left behind. Your ears ringing, the chaos of battle rages around you. Did God plan all this? Was this truly meant to be? Why? Another explosion snaps you out of shell shock. Continue with 2. Officer down. With the gate broken, you watch as defenders fall under the attacker's fire. Another shot, fire, and smoke. Screaming and the smell of iron fills the air. In the distance, someone yells, "Officer down!" You feel your heart in your throat, a glimpse of a familiar face painted by the rising sunlight and the ever-flowing mortality around you. The colonel is dead. You need to flee. Continue with 3 to the cathedral. From this point on, you'll be fleeing through the city, saving others as you try to reach the cathedral. Start from the Kraken Gate on the map of your character sheet. You have a choice of 3 directions. Choose one and roll on the street table. Okay, so I'm just going to choose to go forward and roll on the street table. 1. Nothing. This street is empty at the moment. Roll for directions. Then we go to the directions table on the next page and roll a d4. 4. You're at a crossroads with 3 directions to choose from. So I'm going to go left. And then we'll roll on the street table again. 8. I find a dead body lying in the street and search its pockets. Roll on items, then roll for directions. Okay. 3. A helmet. Receive -1 damage. Nice. So I come up to the dead body in the middle of the street and I look around. And it's just laying in a pool of blood. But I see that it has a pretty intact helmet on it, so I desecrate this body and take the helmet off of the corpse and put it on my head. And then I look around to see where I can go from here. 3. The street forks in 2 directions. So I come to a Y in the road, and I try to go to the left, and looters are blocking my path. Trick them or face conflict. I would like to try to trick them. Maybe I tell them this outlandish story about someone I saw in the path behind me who looked rather wealthy and like they might have quite a few things. Oof, that's gonna be tough. So I fail at this. I needed to roll a 9 or a 10, including my trickery bonus, which was 3, and I rolled a 1, so I got a 4. So I couldn't shake them off, and I failed to rescue any civilians. I roll to flee. Roll 1d6. I got a 5. Nice. On a 4+, you're able to run away from the danger, otherwise roll the damage your adversary has. You can choose any time in a bout to flee. So I flee, and I try to take the other path that was there. And we roll streets. 5. This path is barricaded off. And roll 1d6. This is a manned barricade. Reason with or use conflict with them to let you through. So I definitely believe that I would try to reason with them first and be like, I really need to get back there. My house is just right there. I need to grab a few things before I can actually leave. Nice! So my reason is +4 and I got a 6, so that's a 10. And I needed to roll above an 8. So I reason with them and I get to rescue some civilians. Roll 1d6. 4. So I saved 4 people. So we're definitely trying to save them while, it's absolute carnage around us. But let's roll on the directions table. 3. The street forks in 2 directions. So it goes left and right. Let's go to the right this time. And roll on the streets table. 7. Mercenary extorting civilians. You face a mercenary attempting to rob a civilian. So I've just saved 4 people, and I see this guy trying to rob a civilian, and I'm like, hey man, we're all in a tough spot here. This is completely unnecessary. So I need to roll above a 7 on reason, and I have +4. I got a 6, so I fail. Your words fail to reach them. Lose an item and 1d6 thaler. You fail to rescue any civilians. If you cannot pay the thaler, they beat you up and lose the remaining value in hit points. So this guy turns, as I'm trying to reason with him, to leave this poor guy alone. Like, hey, leave that guy alone. He didn't do anything to you. And he turns to me and he's like, you're right. Perhaps I should pick a more capable target. And then he takes 2 thaler from me and my helmet. And I fail to save any civilians. And then he goes on his way, continuing to be a looter, robber man. So, the directions table, I see 1 street ahead. It only goes forward. 1. Nothing. The street's empty at the moment. Roll for directions. 2. So I see 1 street ahead again. I'm like, this is a long, narrow street. Goodness. 2. There are screams on the streets. You hear cries for help from a side alley. Roll 1d6. 3. Someone got stuck behind debris. Use a shovel or an axe to free them. So I do not have a shovel or an axe. And I'm going to look around for one and roll a d6. And if it's a 4 through 6, I'll find one nearby. And if it's a 1 through 3, I won't. I got a 3. I can't find a shovel or axe. So I'm going to try to reason with these guys. No, they're in an alley. They're stuck. I'll come back for you. Don't worry. Wait here. I don't have the tools to get you out, but I will come back for you. And so I'm gonna put a little marker on my map right here for these guys I gotta come back to in the debris. And I'm gonna continue on and roll directions. 2. Just 1 street. This is a long street. I rolled an 8. I find another dead body just lying in the street, and the people I've saved, the 4 people I've saved, like cringe and look away as we pass it, and I stop to search its pockets. They have a helmet as well. Probably not in his pocket though. So I probably grumble a little bit about the mercenary taking my helmet, and I'm like, teach that guy to take my helmet and put this one on. We continue straight down this street. And in this next area of the street, there are more barricades. They're unmanned. So let's find a way around it with trickery. Nice. I needed to roll above a 9. I rolled 2 9s on the d10 and a 6 on the d6, but my trickery is 3, so that is a 9. That is not above. I couldn't find a way around, and we roll to flee. 1. So the 5 of us are like climbing over this barricade, and then we fall down off of it. So we're gonna look around for a different path, because we're stuck behind this barricade that we can't get around or over. And there are 2 streets off of this, one to the left and one to the right. And we're gonna go to the left. And we can see the church just off in the distance. The cathedral that I'm trying to get these people to, that's where it's going to be safe. And there are screams on the street in front of the church. There are more people stuck behind debris. Someone got stuck behind debris and I still don't have a shovel to help free them. So I'm gonna look around. Like, does anybody have a shovel? Anybody? Anybody? An axe? Any sort of tool? And the screams just keep going on around me and nobody's paying attention to me. So I'm like, I don't have the tools. I tell them the same spiel I told the people in the alleyway last time. I don't have the tools yet, but I'll come back for you, I promise. Next, we're gonna see how many paths from here. There are 2 directions. Forward is gonna be the cathedral. And so I'm gonna drop these people, these 4 people that I've been leading through the city. I'm gonna be like, you'll be safe here, they'll take care of you. Then I'm gonna leave. And drop these people off. And I go to another exit of the cathedral. There's 8 directions in which you can reach the cathedral. It's pretty big. And I'm gonna go out this other exit where there's two branching paths. And there's a dead body here. And I'm gonna loot this dead body and receive another helmet. Okay, I can't wear 2 helmets, but now I have a backup one. Teach that guy to loot me on. Now I have 2. Alright, so let's continue. Directions table. A dead end. Roll up a new character. Alternatively, you can go back a street. If you go back where you came from, roll 1d4. On a 1, you face a mercenary. Roll for conflict. That's interesting. If you reach a dead end, you could just die. But I'm gonna go back and go the other direction from the cathedral. I rolled a 3, so that is not a 1. Perfect. 2. There are screams on these streets. Roll 1d6. 6. A mercenary horseman is chasing a civilian. Roll for conflict. I got a 5 and a 6. I rolled a 4 plus 2. That's a 6. So, success at a cost. In case of a bout, both you and your opponent inflict damage. Otherwise, lose an item or rescue 1 less civilian. So, a mercenary horseman, he does a d6 damage. Oop. So that's 5 damage to me. -1. So I fail and am fighting this mercenary horseman and it's not going well. I'm gonna try to flee. Roll 1d6. Oh my gosh. 3. Oof. Roll the damage your adversary has. 5. -1. So 4. So I have 7 health. So the conflict continues. He still has like half health. Oof. I fail again. I think my conflict was only 2, wasn't it? Yeah, so I rolled a 3 and I needed at least a 5. So he inflicts damage against me again. So 4 more damage. I'm down to 3 HP. And the fight will continue until one of us is dead. Oh. Dang. So this mercenary horseman decides to quit chasing this civilian and is incredibly pestered by me. And he swings his axe in just the most fluid of motions and chops my head off. Now I lie unalive in the middle of the streets during this siege. Yeah, so Madgebörg, I really liked it. I 10 out of 10 would play it again. It's like the choose your own adventure books. I really like those. I had a lot of fun with this. So yeah, if you watch this, thank you for watching, listening, however you consume your media. I wish I could have saved more people, but the dice said otherwise. So yeah, I'll see you next time.